Hi guys, and welcome back to my corner of the internet and YouTubes. And this was originally supposed to be a week-long reading vlog, but on day 5 I realized that I just don't have the expertise to edit a 5-day long reading vlog. So I have a ton of B-roll and it's all just sitting in the ether. I'm probably gonna delete it. No, I'm definitely gonna delete it all. But instead of doing a week-long reading vlog, I just want to discuss one of the books that I read this week, and that is A Fate Inked in Blood. I do not have a physical copy of this book. I do not know if I'm going to purchase a physical copy of this book because I did rate it 3.5 stars. And I want to talk about this book because everybody's pretty much been rating it the same 3 or lower, but the reviews are still very mixed individually. So I don't mean one person is rating it 1 and one person is rating it 5. I mean people's opinion changes through the reading experience of this book from what I've seen from the people I follow on YouTube and Book Talk. And we're following, quick synopsis, we're following our main character. Her name is Frasier. In the beginning, she's married to a narcissistic douchebag. There is like a teeny tiny trigger warning for narcissistic abuse, literally in the first chapter, and that's it. She does handle it very well. She talks back. She's no nonsense. She wants to be a warrior. Instead, she is a fishmonger's wife. And this fishmonger has a drop of God's blood in him, which gives him kind of control over fish. So he essentially is responsible for feeding his entire village. So people do look up to him, even though they don't necessarily like him. But her husband does wind up essentially selling her off to a warlord who wants to utilize her as a tool because she is not so secretly also blessed with some God's blood, which makes her a legendary shield maiden. So she can essentially utilize a shielding power gifted to her by one of the gods, one of the Viking gods. This is a Viking based story, Viking god stories, so we will follow our Viking main character. And also we're thrust right into the main love interest. We like him right away. He's super Chad. He's Chad, but he's not as douchey as Chad in the beginning. So we find this tough, handsome, gruff, sarcastic, witty man in the river. They fight back and forth. They have some bickering. And he is, of course, the son of the warlord that she has been essentially sold off to. So she's now the stepmom, essentially. And there is a second wife. The warlord does have a previous wife. So a deal is worked out where she's going to kind of be left alone. She's just a figurehead and she's going to be used as a tool. So she leaves her home village. She's used as a tool and we start to like her because she is our female main character badass. And our love interest is very respectful. You can tell he cares for her. It's obvious from the first meeting that he's the male love interest. There's no doubt. We don't like his father. It's very distinct. Everything is set up very, I don't want to say idiot proof, but it's idiot proof. Like, this is the main character. This is supposed to be the bad guy. We're not supposed to like her. We're supposed to, but then about a third into the book, we start disliking our female main character. And not because she's an unreliable narrator, but just because she kind of sucks. She throws herself into these situations without really thinking things through, getting a lot of people killed, putting people she loves in danger, putting herself in danger, which in turn causes people she loves to put themselves in danger. But at the same time, she's very self-sacrificing. So, oh, I'm gonna sacrifice myself so I can protect my brother. I'm gonna sacrifice myself so I can protect my brother's wife. I'm gonna sacrifice myself so I can, but she does it in ways that just cause chaos and cause other people she cares about to put themselves in danger. So nothing she doesn't make a single good decision throughout the whole story. And also our female love interest, or our male love interest, also starts to become kind of a douche. Like, you start to go, he's not controlling, but he's a little sus. Like, he only seems to care about her. He doesn't seem to get along with anybody. He seems too separated from everybody else. And you start to just question these two main characters you're following. There is a twist at the end, and then there's another twist after that twist, and there's another twist after that twist. And they do become predictable. Now, the reason I think everybody is rating this 3 stars at some point during their read is because of this up and down love-hate relationship with our female main character. They do both, our female main character and our male love interest, do both have a drop of God's blood. They are both used as tools of war. And It's just, the bickering becomes kind of ridiculous. It becomes kind of ridiculous that the warlord is just kind of like, here, my handsome son, take this handsome woman and just, take care of her, like, just protect her. It's not going to be, I'm not going to be suspicious at all of anything. And it's just, there's some things that are a little too unbelievable. I know it's a fantasy, and there are some situations that just come out of nowhere. Like, you're not really sure why we're under a mountain. You're not really sure why this character appeared out of nowhere. And you don't really have time to care about characters before they're taken away or before something traumatic happens to them. And at the same time, you're just getting so mad at our female main. So I think that has a lot to do with people disliking the story. The twist at the end isn't really a twist. Like, you kind of see where we're going, but right before that twist, something happens. Like, I can't give spoilers, but something happens right before the twist. And in my vlog, even, I put down the book and I was like, if this is where this book is going, I just wasted 4 hours of my life. Like, I almost put the book down and like, I almost deleted it out of my library and was just like, I'm done with this. If this is like a happily ever after fairy tale, I don't want anything to do with this book. I'm done. And then we got our twist, which is the twist we saw coming all along, but we're thrown off by something that happens. And it's just, once again, it's just because of her poor decision making. Now, the reason that towards the end I forgave all of the poor decision making, I forgave the predictable twist, is because she's young. She is young. My cat is gnashing his food in the background, if you hear that. And she is a real person. She's a real person in her world. Like, she's existed before this story, but she's still young. So she's going to make stupid decisions. And considering her drops of God's blood, she's going to have conflicting emotions. She's going to, everything becomes explained. Like, all of her missteps aren't forgivable, but they're, you can understand them, or you're more accepting of, okay, I get it. And we do forget that she is a young adult. Like, I remember decisions I made when I was in my 20s, and they were not good ones. They were poor. So, and then our male love interest, I don't forgive him for anything. I was in love with him at the beginning of the story. He's not evil, and I think at the end of the book we're supposed to like him, but I still hate him. He's not like Tamlin level unforgivable, but I'm just like, I'm over you. I don't want anything to do with you. And that is where I am so torn with this book, to the point where I don't know if I want to buy it, because it was a fun ride. I was invested in some of our characters, even though I didn't like them. And some of just the action sequences are confusing. Like, I'm not sure how I got to some battle scenes. I'm not sure how some plot lines weaved their way into the story. But by the end, you just know the second book's going to be better. And that's why I don't want to just condemn this book. And I don't want to say it's 2 stars. And I don't want to say I didn't like it, because I feel like this whole book was just leading towards something so much better. I feel like this was like her coming of age. And now she's wizened up a little bit. She has a little more knowledge of who she is and what she wants, and that people are going to use her and screw her over. So I think that's why I forgive so much of just the not enjoyable parts of this book, and so many of the reasons why people are rating it low, because I think the second book is just going to be a completely different perspective on our main character. I think the second book is going to just take us to a whole nother level of action and drama, and hopefully some people die that I really don't like, but the twist was predictable, but still, it was a good ride. It was a fun read. The world building, just the world building in this book is incredible. But I think that's also a little unfair, because this isn't some world that she imagined, that our author imagined all on her own. This is obviously based on Viking mythology and Norse mythology. So I'm not giving too much credit to the world building, but it's still just a fun ride. You can picture yourself in some of these situations and in this environment, and it's just a good time. So you will get annoyed many times throughout this book at our female main. You will get the ache from our male love interest. You will get it, but you're immediately thrust into this world, and it is It is intense. It is dramatic. There are a couple trigger warnings for abuse and obviously death. But other than that, it is also just a beautiful physical book. Like, if you've seen it, it's a beautiful book, and that's another reason why it's silly, but that's another reason why I would like to have the physical copy. So, one beautiful book, beautiful world building. I anticipate the second book being way better, being way more enjoyable, and it's just pretty. I'm sorry, I know that's cheesy, but it's just a beautiful book. So I'm very torn between getting it. I am going to say this is a solid 3.5 just for enjoyment. I'm not rating it higher. It's not going higher because of how annoyed I was, because of how clustered the whole story was, because our main character is just so torn between who she is and just makes so many bad decisions. But I do recommend reading this just because I think the second book is going to be better, and I think the second book is going to be a 5 or a 4. I think we're going to see a great world building experience, and I think we're going to see a lot of growth with our main character. So my hair is falling out. So those are just my thoughts. And when you do start reading this book, you're going to probably think the same thing I did. What is everybody talking about giving this a 3-star? This is a great read. Like, the first 5 chapters, you're just like, this is great. I'm enjoying this so much. And then you're going to be like, never mind. Like, the spicy scene comes a little early, and you're just like, this is all happening too fast. But like, you have to realize she is a young woman, and then you have to kind of realize that, oh yeah, I was dumb too, and that's why I forgive her ish. But there really is a point in the book where I almost gave up, and there was a point where I was almost, and it's towards the end too. I still had about an hour left in the audio, and I almost put it down. But I do recommend it. I've said it 50 times already. I do recommend giving it a shot. I don't know if I recommend, if you have limited funding like me, I don't know if I would recommend purchasing it. But if you're interested in this sort of Viking Norse mythology type of deal, and you do like romantasy, I will say it's a good read. I will say it's fun. But 3.5 stars, and it's going to stay at 3.5 stars. I think once the second book comes and I read that, because I really do anticipate the second book is going to be better, I have a feeling the first book will look better in hindsight. So that is it. This really was supposed to be part of a reading vlog, and my reactions would have been much more real, but we'll see how I do next week with trying to record a reading vlog, because I am still reading When the Moon Hatched and Wolf by Leo Carew. So just going forward, if you want to see how I react to those 2 books, just stick around. And that is everything I have to say about A Fate Inked in Blood. So I will see you guys next time. I have to go to the gym because I ate a lot of food. So, all right, I will see you guys next time, and thanks for hanging out with me and my cats, which you haven't seen either of them today. So let me get one of them. Here we go. So thanks for hanging out with me and at least one of my cats. Hi. He doesn't care. But I'll see you guys next time. Bye.